Well, hello there, hey everybody. This is T-Bone, or Tom, but nicknamed T-Bone. And this is my first official, I guess, or second official video. Um, and I wanted to do a quick, well, not a quick, but kind of a brief review of a miniseries. An excellent miniseries. Basically, a four-parter from the 80s, written by the excellent writer Chris Claremont. Fantastic Four versus the X-Men. And just want to go over parts 1 and 2. And as you can see on the cover, you have a very maniacal looking Reed Richards with his poor little son there wailing and crying as if he had become like Dr. Doom and had killed Sue Storm, his mom. And it opens up basically with little Franklin Richards having a nightmare. Shows Reed Richards cradling Sue Storm, his wife, invisible woman, holding her in his arms, and Franklin crying out and saying, "What have you done? What did you do? You killed her!" And then it leading into a scene of Wolverine all of a sudden out of nowhere cradling Sue Storm in his arms, and it goes on. The nightmare goes in further, and pretty soon it shows little Franklin is dreaming of Reed Richards reading his own journal, and then suddenly just becoming Dr. Doom in his awesome art here. Just metamorphosizing, if that's even a word. I don't know if that's how you say it, but just some wonderful art right there of him becoming Dr. Doom. And then finally little Franklin wakes up and goes and tries to bother his father, who's busy at work in the lab doing some work. And as the story progresses, it then switches to, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, to X-Men headquarters on Muir Island, which is in Scotland. And it's basically showing some of the fallout from a massacre caused by the Marauders in New York. And it has several of the fallen X-Men, like Nightcrawler and others, in one of the infirmary wards. It shows Dr. Monica, I believe her Monica McTaggart, is watching over them, and Shadowcat is one of the major fatalities. She's kind of locked in kind of a weird frozen animated state with Psylocke looking on, really enduringly, like really sad, and the whole team, who at the time is led by Storm, is kind of reeling in the aftermath of everything. And then it cuts to a scene with Dazzler and and Longshot in the ocean, and they are trying to make their way to the temporary X-Men compound. Then the story progresses in part 1. It soon goes to She-Hulk and Ben Grimm, or also known as, we all know, The Thing. And they kind of have an interaction. And then suddenly this building starts to collapse, and they are basically trying to stop the building from collapsing. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Magneto shows up, and everything goes to heck. As you can see, and Ben is not too thrilled to see Magneto there, and says, "You can't trust him, it's clobbering time." And he wants to give Magneto a whooping. And then Johnny Storm shows up, as you can see. And he's like, "Okay, Magneto's here, what the heck is going on?" And apparently, Magneto had heard that Reed Richards had made this invention that would be able to hopefully heal Shadowcat and get her out of her animated frozen state. So he goes and tries to reason with Reed Richards and try to get him to fly to Muir Island in Scotland to help. So here they are on the plane, headed to Muir Island. And so they finally get there. They unload what is called the they unload the contraption that Reed Richards built. And one thing leads to another, and Reed thinks about all of the different measures it'll take to try and save Shadowcat, and decides in his mind that it's just not going to work. That he might end up making things worse and probably end up killing her rather than restoring her to life. And Wolverine, out of the corner of his eye, notices this, and it doesn't settle too well with old man Logan. And one thing leads to another. X-Men and Fantastic Four start arguing. There's a scuffle, and Magneto's like, to heck with Reed. We got the machine. That's all there is to it. We're gonna take it. He uses his awesome magnetic powers to grab the machine, and then She-Hulk and the Thing get involved, and there's a huge scuffle. And one thing leads to another. Logan jumps in, kicks Johnny Storm's butt when he tries to intervene, and lunges for Reed, and a climactic to be continued. There's some really nice art there of Logan saying, you better save her or I'm gonna slice and dice. So yeah, really, really awesome first part. Once again, just a really good story. And this leads into part 2, where, as you can see on the cover there, just an awesome cover. Little Franklin is once again seen weeping, leaning over now, not only Sue Storm, his mom, but also his dad, who has a huge gash in him caused by Wolverine. And it opens in part 2 with just this awesome face-to-face confrontation between Reed and Wolverine, and just Logan's just gonna just rip him to shreds. And the art, the colors on this page just are amazing. Just pop right off the page. And so the scuffle continues. Storm tries to intervene. She jumps in. And Ben Grimm decides it's clobbering time. Does his big clap. Smacks things. Just gets things going there. Storm tries to jump in and intervene. Tries to stop Logan. Giant Storm comes flying in. Ends up hitting Storm. And he looks shocked. He's like, oh crap, I just singed Storm. And then, out of nowhere, here comes Rogue. Rogue gets involved. As you know, she can absorb things. She can feel people's powers, and there she just decides to plant one right on Ben Grimm's rocky lips. And just amazing artwork there as well. The transformation of her into pretty much a she thing. Then in the scuffle, as the scuffle continues, Psylocke decides to jump in. And at the same time, Logan just decides to continue trying to kick the crud out of poor Reed Richards. There he sends his silly putty face, just knocks the crud out of him. Just amazing artwork there as well with the jaw just, you know, flying. So while all this is happening, Franklin is dreaming this, but he's at home asleep at the Fantastic Four's headquarters in New York. So he has a nightmare. He falls out of bed because he's just an astral projection of himself. And his mom comes to comfort him. And pretty soon things cut back to the ocean where Dazzler and Longshot are still making their way to the island. They find out what's happening, so they try to go there. And they were aboard some fisherman's ship. And the fisherman is actually an android, which then begins transforming after he is found out by one of the nurses. So he begins to transform. Then things finally start to calm down. Dazzler and Longshot make it to the compound on Muir Island. Rogue is transformed into the she thing. She's stumbling around. Storm is trying to reason with a battered Reed Richards. And the android shows up. And it is sent by none other than the one and only you-know-who. Yep, Dr. Doom. Who obviously always has some kind of ulterior motive. So he presents himself and tries to reason with Storm, says, I hear you have a dilemma with Shadowcat. I will try and I can offer to help you. And in return, help you get her back. And Reed is like, you cannot trust him. He is a jerk. He's a backstabber. He's evil. It's like making a deal with the devil, basically. And as things continue, they tend to Storm, who was singed by Johnny. And there's Shadowcat thinking in her frozen state, what can I do to help with this whole mess? And the Avengers end up, I'm not the Avengers, sorry, the Fantastic Four end up going back to New York, where Reed Richards is struggling internally with everything that has happened. And the Thing finds out about apparently the true reason why the Fantastic Four became who they are. That apparently Reed in this journal that he wrote had planned everything out when they did their first rocket launch. He had set it up so that they all would basically be injured and gain these superpowers and become this super team. And so it kind of goes through reading through this journal, the history of it, and kind of cuts back to the X-Men compound where they're all sitting around trying to figure out what they're going to do. Basically saying that they were gonna, Storm is saying that she's gonna do whatever she can to get Shadowcat back. And the artwork in this second part is just awesome as well. Just amazing artwork. And pretty soon it just ends with, you know, everyone pretty much fed up with Reed. Ben is basically telling him he's leaving. He can't handle the true fact that Reed had set them up, that he gave them their I guess, freakish abilities. Johnny decides to leave with She-Hulk, says he may or may not hear from me ever again. That's where I'll be at her place. And then it cuts back finally to the last scene, back at the X-Men compound, where they're all gathering around. Storm's saying, I'm gonna do what it takes. Everybody's like, okay. Even the Doctor is like, okay, we're gonna back you up. And that leads into part 3. So just excellent first 2 parts to that story, and I'll probably touch on the last 2 parts on the next video. Just want to do a quick overview of some pickups I got done recently. So I picked up some of these books from a place called Comics Adventure that me and Sam from Sam's Tangled Web like to go to. Picked up a really good Spidey with Craven in it. This is Amazing Spider-Man issue 209. Right there. Just a great cover. Amazing Spider-Man 217 with Hydro Man and the Sandman teaming up. Great cover. Amazing Spider-Man 218. Squadron Supreme, which is a one-shot from the Heroes Reborn series. Basically with Elektra, Punisher, War Machine teaming up. And I believe the Wasp as well. Picked up a couple of ROMs. ROM issue, I want to say 20. Good cover there. ROM issue 16. Rebuttal of the Watch Wraith. ROM issue 19 with the Space Phantom. Really good 50 cent. Fantastic Four 367. At the mercy of the Puppet Master, where the Thing is fighting, I guess, what everyone refers to as Pineapple Thing. Does pineapple belong on pizza? I think so, but you don't have to agree with me on that. True Believers, Grey Hulk Returns. Really good. True Believers issue. I happen to like True Believers. A lot of people think they're cheap, but I think it's just as good as a facsimile. It's another good way of getting a classic, even though it might not be the actual classic. But then I got Spectacular Spider-Man Giant Size 30th Anniversary Special, $189. Very nice, shiny cover there. Got some other stuff here as well. I won't go over everything, but are really cool with the popularity of the new Disney Plus series Loki. By the way, the first 2 episodes are excellent. If you haven't watched it yet, I highly suggest it. Very, very awesome. Tom Hiddleston is a genius. Just an excellent job as Loki. But this here is Marvel Tales, The Trials of Loki. It's basically like reprints of Loki 1 through 4, issues 1 through 4. Kind of a spendy thing. It was $7.99, but if you're a Loki fan, definitely very cool. I got Web of Spidey 20, Web of Spider-Man, Web of Spider-Man 25, with the Stalker from the Stars, Web of Spidey, oh wait a minute, did I say that was 29? That was 25. This is 29 with Wolverine on it. Web of Spidey 27. Very cool. Cosmic Gambit, Web of Spidey 34. With the Watcher on there. Very, very nice. Slider. Web of Spidey 23. Some reprints of some classic Hulks. Hulk vs. Submariner. Marvel Superheroes featuring the Hulk and the Abomination. Number 46. Really cool cover. Another one with the Summons of Cyclops. Marvel Superheroes, number 90. Another great classic cover there. Marvel Superheroes, Incredible Hulk. I think it's Hulk with one of his loves. I'm not as good as a Hulk history buff as my buddy Sam is from Sam's Tangled Web, or Big Herm. By the way, props to those guys. You're doing an awesome job on your Wednesday shows. And of course, the big Venom 35. This is the Mark Bagley issue with, or also known as issue 200. Venom just busting through the number 35. Picked up one of these for me and my buddy Sam, both of us. Also got, you had to get the Gleason cover, of course. Classic Gleason. With the web silhouette. Just amazing. Simply amazing. And the standard cover, which I still think is pretty dang cool. Venom sitting on his rightful throne that he earned. Picked up I believe the last part of Heroes Reborn run, issue 7. And the Deadpool Rob Liefeld Fantastic Four issue 33. Very cool cover. All right, well, I just want to thank you all for watching. This is Comics and Collectibles with T-Bone. On our next episode, we're gonna be covering the last 2 parts of the Fantastic Four versus X-Men, and going to be talking about another haul of comics, and hopefully as we go, this will get better. I apologize for the not so high-tech setup, but thanks again for watching. I'm Tom, also known as T-Bone, and see you next time. All right, bye.